Thank you, Reese, and thank you, everybody, to take your time in probably a beautiful summer afternoon. Well, thank you for listening to me during that day. Hopefully, you sit in some kind of nice garden or outdoors anywhere to to enjoy both the weather and this webinar on Peru this time. So I'm going to take you to Peru. Let's see if this is working. It does. So just a little bit about Pure, as always. Just so we have to repeat the name. We have to repeat Pure. It needs to get into your mind. So anything you say Andes, you say South America, you say Pure. So we're only B2B. We're only here for you. As always, we're here to support you. We're your ears and eyes on the ground in South America. No matter how crazy you believe your question is, just shoot it to us and we'll actually reply. We have local staff in all our offices. There are like 9 offices over 6 countries. So we're there close by where our clients are and guests are traveling to actually provide that service that they require and that you require from us. We can be completely white label if that's something of your desires. Let's see, Katie is also coming in. There we go. And we do everything tailor-made. So every single inquiry is a new project for us. And that's the information that we need from you. As you know your clients, you need to ask them what they like, what they do not like, where they've been, etc. So all the information that you can get from your clients about themselves and about what they expect on their holiday, that actually helps us to provide a better first proposal that should be around 90–95% accurate to what they want. And then we tweak that a little bit, go back and forth, get the price right, get the expectations right and the inclusions right, and then it's a go. Pure elements, that's something that I'll come back to later on. But it's like these little small things as well that make and break an itinerary, and that's the wow effect as well for many people during their holidays. We do both incentive and leisures, and we are a responsible DMC. Peru, that's where you all hail from. Sorry, I'm not from Peru either, as you know, but here we are in Peru now. Let me just say hi to Nancy. Here we go. So, as you know, we always break the country up in pieces, in regions, and this time Peru we have split up in 3 zones: the coastal area, the Andean region, and the Amazon Basin. We are here in the south of Ecuador and north of Chile, west of Brazil, and west of Bolivia. Our capital is Lima. It's on the coastal area, sea level, so no altitude sickness there. We have our Nuevo Sol, or the Sol, the sun, as our currency. 31 million people inhabit Peru. So it's a large country. It's one of the bigger countries that are in this region. And just some tips or why visit Peru, some fun facts. We have the highest sand dune in the world, and some people might say, hey, but that's not true. I'm pretty sure some other country in the world has it. Well, supposedly it's in Peru. Machu Picchu is one of the 7 wonders of the world. It is. Cotahuasi Canyon in Peru is actually the deepest canyon, and it's not the Grand Canyon, it's the Cotahuasi Canyon here in Peru. Lake Titicaca, the highest navigable lake in the world. So this is actually very, very beautiful to visit and easy to visit as well, the Titicaca Lake. Then we have those Nazca lines that nobody still understands who carved them so perfectly in the sand, in the dunes. And they still exist, and the only way to see them is by little airplane flying over them to see the figures that have been carved in the desert. So it's quite mysterious how these Nazca lines have been developed. Now Peru has 12 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So really, Peru is one of those main destinations people think of when they think of South America. Peru rings a bell immediately. Everybody has seen a picture of Machu Picchu, and almost in every single travel magazine, you will see a picture of Machu Picchu. So it's really well positioned. And if you tell me or ask me like, hey, where should I start with? I want to start offering South America. What country is probably the best to start with? I always say Peru is a country that is super well organized. Tourism flows perfectly, and it's already there. So everything is and no, industrialized is a horrible word, but it's the tourism has developed and is top notch. So Peru is definitely also for you to start promoting a country. It's already known by your clients, so they just wait for you to offer it, and they'll book. It's not something that you should try to get into their brains, into their mindset, like, hey, let's go to Bolivia. Well, that's not going to happen that fast. Let's go to Peru. Yes, people definitely want to go to Peru. So that's why I always say Peru is probably a very good first destination if you start offering South America. Now we have the Amazon River, which actually is the longest river in the world, and it starts here in Peru. So you can actually visit it, where the two rivers, the Marañón and the Oyacali River, sorry, they come together and they actually create this majestic Amazon River. Peru has also been named the world's leading culinary destination, and that's definitely true. Everybody knows the cuisine and the ceviches, and the Peruvian gastronomy has been spread all over the world, and you have Peruvian restaurants everywhere nowadays. So definitely Peru is up there on that list of the foodie tours and the gastronomy. So people do also go to Peru for its food, and not only for the Inca civilization. Now, how to get to Peru? We have Lima, right in the middle of the country, kind of on the coastal area. Lima is a big hub. Many airlines fly to Lima, so it's very easy to get to Peru. And then you have like smaller airports and some regional airports like Cusco. So Cusco is the main place where people go to, because from Cusco you start visit Machu Picchu. So Cusco has a regional airport, also to combine, for instance, with La Paz or with other countries close to Peru. Now, how do you want to travel? Whether it's by helicopter, private plane, luxury minivan, or yacht. If you want to make it luxury, we can help you. If you want to stay mainstream, we help you as well. Now, the coastal region, let's go and see some of the places here in Peru. We go first towards the Nazca lines, those lines that we just talked about a little. It's south of Lima. It's 3 hours drive to Paracas National Reserve, which is actually a very nice stop and a beautiful experience as well, to do a little boat ride along this island called Islas Ballestas, where you have lots and lots of bird life. And then from there, we take it another hour and a half to Ica Nazca. And here you have the Nazca lines. And in between, you also have some oases like the Huacachina Oasis. As everything here in Peru, the coastal region of Peru is desert. It's so different from Ecuador. Last week, we had this webinar about Ecuador. In Ecuador, if you have to put it in a color, it's all different colors of green, as I explained. While Peru, if you have to put it in a color, it's all different colors of brownish, grayish. That's Peru. So the moment you actually cross the border with Ecuador and Peru, it's all desert. So it goes from forest to desert, and it continues to be desert all the whole from north to south in the coastal region of Peru. Okay, so this is Lima. Lima is, of course, the capital of Peru. It's a huge city, like 11 million people live here in Lima, but you only have certain districts that are interested for tourists. So here you have Miraflores, Miraflores, as you see, is all this area here. You have this fantastic Malecón, which is a really nice place to do your joggings in the morning or just do an evening stroll here in Lima. Most of the hotels are actually located in Miraflores, and with a bit of luck, you have a hotel overlooking the ocean. Now, in the back of the picture here, with the high-rise buildings, you have San Isidro. San Isidro is more the corporate area, but also in San Isidro, you will see that there are several hotels, and some people really like to stay in San Isidro. Then, of course, you have the center, the city center, the colonial center of Lima, which is really, really, really pretty, very easy to walk through. They've done a really good job on creating that ambience. Some days it's also close to traffic, so it really gets you the feeling of walking through these beautiful streets, colonial streets of Lima, with the tranquility of what it brings when you don't hear the buses honk. Of course, we have lots of museums. One of the main museums in Lima that you have to see, it's a must, is the Larco Museum. Larco Museum is a private museum. It's a private selection of many different civilizations that have been and that have actually lived in Peru. So it's not only Inca, it's a lot of pre-Incan civilizations as well. And in this museum will actually explain everything about it. So it is a very good start for you to continue exploring these civilizations and everything that you'll see in Peru, because Peru is a living museum. It's still that every single day there's something being digged up, there's something being found, there's all these sites, they're still not totally discovered, they've not totally been cleaned, so there's still a lot going on in all these different sites. And every time there's something that they discover, like, hey, look at this, it's a new civilization, new thumb of somebody. And that's what you see here in Peru. It's really, you walk through a living civilization of the past. It's really amazing. Just a little hint, Larco Museum also has a really good restaurant. So if you want to have that with your lunch or with your dinner, definitely a big recommendation there. For those who'd like to do some more soft adventure, well, not really soft adventure, some more adventure, it's the parasailing here in Lima. It's done very often, and they have their own little parasailing port on this Malecón on the boulevard in Miraflores. Gastronomic tours, whether you're a foodie, you want to be served, or you want to do things yourself, you want to prepare your own ceviche, your own pisco sour, of course. You will have so many pisco sours when you come to Peru. And it's one of those drinks that's very difficult to find outside of Peru that tastes the same. So definitely you will love your pisco sours while you travel through Peru. But here in Peru and in Lima, we actually have the best restaurant of the world, and that's Central. So if you want a reservation for your clients at this restaurant, we can also help you out there. Of course, we need to do that on time because it really sells out fast. But we also have like the food tours, taking you to the different markets, doing what I said, like the little preparations of the main dishes of Peru, which are, as I said, the ceviche and the pisco sours. There we have the steppe horses as well. This is a typical Peruvian horse that can also be visited a little outside Lima. There's this really beautiful hacienda where we can go to. And this is also really something really special for those who really love horses. So if you have somebody that says, well, I ride horses, I like horses, well, this is something that we should then include in that itinerary. Of course, if you want to do some picnics, some other like special treats, here private yacht charters to one of the little islands in front of Lima. That's also possible. And then some of the hotels, the country club is actually in San Isidro. And then we have the Belmont in Miraflores, which you will see here in Peru. In Peru, you have like certain hotel chains that are everywhere. So they have hotels in Lima, hotels in Cusco, in the Sacred Valley, in Colca, and some have actually near Titicaca as well, or even in the Amazon. So you can kind of take the same hotel standard during your whole trip, which is sometimes great and sometimes not. But definitely you have the Belmont properties, which is top notch. And then you have, for instance, the Casa Andinas, or you have Libertador, and you have other hotel chains as well, like Incaterra, that are like the local hotel chains here in Peru that we all work with, just in case. So we have Hotel B, which is more the boutique hotels. This is in Barranco, which is one of those beautiful bohemian districts, packed with the little restaurants and bars, really good. The JW, and this is another one which is also part of a very small local hotel chain. They have a hotel in Arequipa, they have a hotel here in Lima, which is Atemporal, and they have one in Cusco. So if we go down south, what I said, in 3 hours, we'll actually be in Paracas. And Paracas has some really nice hotels as well. There's a luxury collection here. So for families, this is also a nice way to maybe end your holidays, because you have a little beach, there's a kids club, and you can do like this excursion to the Islas Ballestas, the little boat ride, and then also combine this maybe with the Nazca lines, or with a buggy ride in the dunes, and visit to the oasis of Huacachina. So in this area, there's also quite a bit to see, and it's quite nice with families definitely as well. So here we go. As you see, it's a deserted place and it's desert. Oh, sorry, that was a bit too fast. So what you see here is the candelabra. This is like also in the sand carved. You'll see it out of your little boat if you do these tours to the Ballestas Islands, where you'll have hundreds of thousands of seabirds, and of course some seals as well. We can do some soft adventure. We can take you to take a night stargazing and sleep under the stars in the desert here in this area of Peru. We can take you kayaking. You can go for scallops. You can pick them yourself, and then of course taste them. And we can create that with a very nice and unique moment. Now, the hotel that we recommend here is the Luxury Collection. There's also one that is of another hotel chain called Aranwa. So there are several options as well in Paracas, and this is actually a very nice hotel. Then from Paracas, we go to Ica, where we have the desert, and then go to Nazca, where we have the Nazca lines. This is the oasis, Huacachina. Huacachina, sorry, I have to pronounce that correctly. Huacachina. It's in the dunes, and this is where you can do the sandboarding. This is where you do these little buggy rides. And of course, sandboarding, the first time you definitely have to do it laying down and not standing up, because it's not as easy as it looks. But we can also create these little moments, and of course these little fellows take you to see the Nazca lines here in the back. These are just a few, there are many, so make sure that you did not eat your breakfast before you fly, as these little planes, they take you up, and then they go to everybody that's on the left side, and they go like this: spider, 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 and you'll see the spider, then it turns around and it's for the right side: spider, 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 spider. By the time you get to the monkey, your stomach is upset, at least. Okay, but that's I'm going back. I don't know why. There we go. So that's the flight, and like, well, there you have the spider, and they're perfectly carved in the ground. It's really, really something unique to see. And of course, we are in this area, and also we actually passed a little village called Pisco, and that's where the pisco comes from. So here you have the opportunity to do some like vineyards tours and see how these grapes of pisco are actually grown and how they're made into this fantastic drink that you'll have so many times when you're in Peru. And this is one vineyard that also has a hotel, Viñas Cairolo. It's really good, really high-end pisco, and of course with a very beautiful hotel. So also this is a nice place to just have some relax and of course enjoy all the pisco you want. Okay, let's take you to Puno. So if you have an idea of Peru, so you see all this is Peru. Mostly everybody stays in the southern cone of Peru. That's where this, I always say it horribly, the Gringo Trail is located. So people go from Lima, Cusco to Machu Picchu mainly, and then sometimes they have some time to go to either the Titicaca Lake, or they go what we did now to the south coast. There's another place called Arequipa, which is a beautiful city that can also be combined, and you can actually do a whole loop in the southern part of Peru. And then you have the two Amazon places that I'll come to next. So here you have a flight. So most of the people, they fly from Lima in an hour, 10 minutes approximately to, sorry, let me just admit Kathy, there we go, to Cusco, where you have, of course, Machu Picchu, the Sacred Valley, and you have flights from Lima also to Juliaca, where you can get to the Titicaca Lake, or you can fly to Arequipa, and then maybe start your trip out of Arequipa and work yourself up to Machu Picchu and have that climax. So here it's actually quite interesting to maybe start from Lima with a flight to Arequipa, do some acclimatization here because Arequipa is still lower than Cusco, and then do the Colca Canyon, which takes you immediately to a 4,000-meter altitude, see the condors, go to Titicaca, then drive towards Cusco, get into the Sacred Valley, do your Machu Picchus, and then go back to Cusco, visit Cusco, and then fly to Lima and back home. That's a pretty complete Peruvian itinerary. So take note of those places. That's kind of how you can build it up and have Machu Picchu and Cusco at the end of your trip, and also have that moment of acclimatization, which is so important here in Peru. Okay, so let's see and take you to Cusco, the city of kings. There's somebody else. There you go. Yeah, the city of kings. This is the place, the birthplace, the navel of the world, as they call it as well. Cusco, it's like the center of the world, the navel of the world. And of course, the capital of the Inca civilization. And that's what you still feel here. The people, you see the locals, they still look, they have like these fractions in their faces that are still Incan, and everything around it, all these beautiful buildings, the real original Inca walls that you still have in many places here in Cusco. It's like walking in history. And that's why people love Cusco so much. And there's a lot of people that actually stay in Cusco. Okay, Lionel is asking me a question. How many days does it take to, let's see, that itinerary. That's almost a 2-week itinerary. So taking Arequipa and the whole trip, between 12 days to 14 days, and we can extend that. Okay, so Cusco, here you have the main square. This is a square you will cross many times when you're here in this town, and it feels like coming home. As I said, the living Inca Empire, that's how it is. You still have these beautiful souvenir shops everywhere, but also the real nice workshops that we can take you to, the true with people that have saved these traditions, and that are actually working to make sure that these traditions don't get lost in time. And these people have created books, and their artwork is even in the United Nations building and everywhere. So they've exported their knowledge and their handicrafts all over the world, and we can actually go and visit these people personally and learn from them. So that's also something that we can do on an itinerary. This is the Coricancha. As you see, the Western people built their churches on top of the Inca temples, and the Inca temples were built on top of the pre-Incan civilization. So it's been building on top, and you can actually still see the different architectures of these eras. This is why the Incans were so famous for those huge stones that nobody knows how they've actually been able to carry them and then craft them so perfectly so that there's not a little moss growing in between the stones, and you cannot put a nail in between the stones, and it's done so perfectly. So it's really it's mind-blowing to see how they've been able to create these temples here in the most difficult places to get to, actually. So it's all together, it's a mind-blowing experience. So there's near Cusco, you have, and what they usually said, and everybody just says, well, you have a city tour and a half-day ruins nearby, or the nearby ruins. So what are those nearby ruins? Those nearby ruins are 3 ruins: it's Kenco, Pucapucara, and Tamomachay. Those 3 ruins are small ruins like these ones. Sometimes it's just like a bunch of stones all together, but of course your guide will explain every single detail on these ruins, and it all builds up to see the different ruins in Cusco, the different ruins on the Sacred Valley that you have there as well, to eventually get to the main one, which is Machu Picchu. So this is the one, Pucapucara. Oh, sorry, misplaced my mouse. There we go. This is Tamomachay. So you see, it's all in part of the landscape, and that was very important, of course, for the Incas, because they worshipped nature. The private workshops, and of course, here we can do anything around the gastronomy. Now, the different hotels that we have here, the Inca Terra, for instance, this is the Inca Terra that I told about, the Belmonts. There are 2 Belmont properties in Cusco, which is the Monasterio, which is one of those hotels that is just iconic. Everybody knows it, and even some of your clients will ask for it. They will say, oh, I want to stay at the Monasterio. Well, that's a Belmont property in Cusco. This is a very modern boutique hotel. And then you have the Libertador, which is also a beautiful hotel, Palacio del Inca. So there's enough to choose from in Cusco. So from Cusco, we actually have the Sacred Valley. And the Sacred Valley is 2, or actually 3 different entries. So mainly, if you do an itinerary that is Lima, flying to Cusco and trying to get to Machu Picchu as fast as possible, what we do is Lima, fly to Cusco, and then drive into the Sacred Valley just because of altitude. Cusco is just on that level, on that altitude, that people can start feeling their breath. They might get some headaches. They might not want to continue because they just feel that they're sick. They're having altitude sickness. So what we do then is we take them to the Sacred Valley, which is lower than Cusco, and acclimatize here. In the Sacred Valley, you can easily stay 3 nights, easily. And most of the people stay either 1 or 2 nights because of time restrictions. If you have people that want to stay a little longer, they're into the slow tourism that's so important nowadays, stay 3 nights in the Sacred Valley, and you can do beautiful excursions and experiences here. So the Sacred Valley, you have actually the northern part, which is where you have Pisac, and Pisac also has a really beautiful ruin above the little village. And then you have this river as well. I don't know if you can see the blue line here. That's the Urubamba River. So the Urubamba River can also be rafted, so you can actually do some sports there. And there's this road all along the river that takes you through the valley and through all the little different villages that are there, and all the little places that you can visit. It's a very fertile ground. So here you have this huge corns that you can get, and Urubamba is like the main city here in the Sacred Valley, and also near Urubamba you'll have the most of the hotels. And then on the other end you have Ollantaytambo, and from Ollantaytambo, which is this beautiful small real Inca village, you have the train station that also takes you to Machu Picchu, and then we can go back to Cusco, for instance. So we can do Cusco at the end, and do Machu Picchu in between. So within the Sacred Valley, you have several places to visit, which is the Habana Cancha, which is a very nice textile workshop, or so to say. Pisac, which I said with the ruins. You have Chinchero, which also has a really nice weaver community, and then Urubamba with the main hotels, Maras and Moray, which are two other really nice sites. I'll show you some pictures of those. One is the salt, actually Incan salt activity. They actually export the salt nowadays around the world. And then you have some lakes that you can do some different sports on as well. So there's really a lot to do in the Sacred Valley. So this is like the textile workshop and how they actually create all those beautiful colors and the weavings. This is the Pisac ruin. Very nice walk to these ruins. You don't need to climb too much. Of course, for Peru, you always need a certain good condition, because you will have to walk on uneven paths. You have to go from stone to stone. So it's not for people with any complicated disabilities. Definitely you need to be quite good in condition. So this is the Moray. So this is where they actually created all the little crops, and they did the Incas did their studies on the different crops here in this place. We can fly over it if you'd like, not necessary. You can do it by car easily. These are the salt mines of Maras that I talked about, and we can do all types of excursions with the local communities. We can do some underground cooking, which is the pachamanca, which is getting hot stones in a hole in the ground, and put the food on top of it, cover it up, and wait for a couple of hours, and then dig out your food and enjoy this together with the families and the communities, for instance. So all those experiences, they need some time, but if we can get the people to stay a little longer, we can do that. So this is Ollantaytambo, really beautiful. Here, as you see, you have to walk up all these stairs, visit the upper part as well of these ruins here, above this beautiful little village of Ollantaytambo. If you want to have some spa, some wellness treatments after all that hiking and sightseeing, of course, many places to do so. Hotels in the Sacred Valley, like the Libertador, Hotel Sol y Luna, which is actually a Relais Chateau hotel. They also have a really good foundation that helps the little children here in this area. We have the Rio Sagrado, which is a Belmont property, also really nicely located on the river. And we have something pretty unique for those who look for stunning places and be different than their neighbor. Then you go and stay a night here in this capsule that's hanging on the cliffs. So you actually have to rock climb to it, then you stay a night and you wake up overlooking the Sacred Valley here in Machu Picchu, and then you zip line down. So this is definitely for those more adventurous people. Now, how do we get to Machu Picchu out of the Sacred Valley? So once you're in the Sacred Valley, you actually take the train from this beautiful village, Ollantaytambo, to Machu Picchu. And there's this Machu Picchu Pueblo, or the village of Machu Picchu. It's also called Aguascalientes. And from Aguascalientes, you drive up by bus, and these are shared buses. It's all part of the organization. Up all these little ping, 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 ping to the place. Oh, sorry, this is Aguascalientes here. So you actually drive up, ping, 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 ping to Machu Picchu. Excuse me. And then here they drop you off right next to the gate. You get to Machu Picchu, you do your visits, and then you go down. Now here near the gate is one hotel, which is the Belmont Sanctuary Lodge. And that's one of those other hotels that people probably will ask you for. It's right there next to Machu Picchu. You don't see Machu Picchu though from the hotel. And you don't have the perk anymore to get in Machu Picchu earlier than any other clients can do, because everything is now restricted. So that was the case in the past. In the past, people staying at this hotel, they actually could stay longer in the ruins and see the sunset or see the sunrise. And that's not the case anymore. Still, it's a really nice hotel close by Machu Picchu, and you have that spirituality and that energy that's around this place, and that's definitely also in the Sanctuary Lodge. Most clients, however, they go down to Aguascalientes, where you have tons of hotels, and stay here. So we do recommend to actually stay a night near Machu Picchu, especially if you come in like the season that is more cloudy, or that that's the rainy season from December to March. Those months you actually have the possibility to get to Machu Picchu and just see clouds. And you say, wow, Machu Picchu, I'm here, and then you don't see Machu Picchu. So what we do and what we recommend is stay a night and have a second chance to go and see Machu Picchu the next day. And that can also be done in the better season, just for you to make sure that anything here, you will actually see Machu Picchu, because that's the main reason for their holidays to Peru for many of the clients. So we better stay for one night and do the visit twice. Of course, you have to pay 2 times the entrance fees, yes, but you can do 2 different routes, and I'll get to that as well. So here, the way to get to Machu Picchu is by train. There's 3 different levels of train. You have like the backpacker or the tourist train, and then you have the Vista Dome, and then you have the Hiram Bingham. And the Hiram Bingham is actually a Belmont train. So it's the Belmont service, and it's all about luxury. Really nice, great way to actually get to Machu Picchu or to leave out of Machu Picchu back to Cusco. So you don't have to take a return ticket on these ones, which is also very important for you to understand. So here we can do like a quick train out of Ollantaytambo to get to Machu Picchu, just the Vista Dome. You're there, do your visits of Machu Picchu in the afternoon, then the next day a visit in the morning, and then take a train in the afternoon back to Cusco, which is a longer stretch than from the Sacred Valley. And then we can actually take the Hiram Bingham. So you have like this beautiful closure of a fantastic visit to Machu Picchu in style, which is the Hiram Bingham. So that's also possible, just to do one-way tickets on the Hiram Bingham. Okay, so this is Machu Picchu. This is Aguascalientes. These are the buses that take you up to Machu Picchu, and there you are without clouds. See Machu Picchu. There's now Machu Picchu. The way to visit, you have time slots. So you actually have to make sure that the entrance ticket is bought correctly, and that it combines and coincides with your arrival of the train. And of course, then also with the buses that take you up to Machu Picchu, and then you have a 1-hour time frame to enter. And that's something why you eventually need a DMC for, because this is something you need to know and to operate correctly, not to miss on your Machu Picchu visit. And there are several circuits now in Machu Picchu as well. So there are 3 different circuits that you can do to visit the Citadel. So you can actually do one circuit in the first day, and then another circuit in the next day. Or if you want to climb Huayna Picchu, which is this mountain which is in the back of Machu Picchu, and you really don't need to have any fears of heights. But there's a different ticket. We need to know all these little things beforehand, so we can buy, for instance, one with Huayna Picchu, so you climb up Huayna Picchu, and the other one which is just a visit to Machu Picchu, for instance. So all these little details it's very important to understand how this actually operates. Well, this is a special lunch, private lunch that we can set up, and of course also the massage. Here we have the Sanctuary Lodge. This is within Aguascalientes, for instance, the Sumac, which is a nice hotel. And then you have Incatera, which is more a lodge kind of idea with very nice gardens and different bungalows here and there. So it's really nice setting, but you're so close to the village. You just walk out the hotel and you're in the village. So it's not that you're outside way outside the village. You have that feeling because you're kind of in a forest, but you're right there. So it's easy also to just walk out of your hotel and grab something to eat and find your own little restaurant, which is not possible if you stay at the Sanctuary Lodge. Just in case, another little hint. Sanctuary Lodge is Sanctuary Lodge. You're up there. Buses leave at 6:30 p.m. That's their last turn. That's the last way down. And then everybody staying at the Sanctuary Lodge is stuck at the Sanctuary Lodge for the whole night. You're not able to go down or up anymore. So there are no taxis, there's no buses more anymore. So you're there. So you have to make sure that either you include the dinner or people will have to pay Belmont prices for their dinner at the Sanctuary Lodge. Okay, so now we go from Cusco to the Titicaca Lake. And this is actually a super nice add-on to your Cusco experience. The Titicaca Lake is phenomenal. It's magical, it's beautiful, and you have some really nice properties as well. And the excursions to the little islands here and there are also fantastic. And it's the gateway to actually get into Bolivia. So if you're here in Puno, which is the place that everybody stays, to visit the Peruvian part of Titicaca, you can continue your journey towards Bolivia and then enter by either of the two different border crossings and get to La Paz. This can be done easily in one day. We can also do this with a catamaran excursion. So you first take a bus to Bolivia, then in Copacabana, you enter a catamaran. They take you to the Moon Island, and then you have a little excursion, and they take you to the other port here near the Tiquina area, and then you drive to La Paz. So that's also a very nice way to actually combine Peru and Bolivia. This is Puno. The village is not that interesting. It's about the lake. So you do not have to turn around and look at the village. Nothing nice there. Make sure you keep facing the lake. Siustani, this is just another ruin that's on the way. So there's actually a really nice way to get from Cusco to Puno. There's several options. You can either take a train, which is like a normal train, or you have the Belmont and the Explorer train, which is of course a luxury train. You have private transportation that we can provide with all the different stops and a private guide, or you have a tourist bus that's a shared services and that also does that same stops and take you to Puno. So it depends on how you'd like to do. You can also fly. So there's also a flight that can take you to Puno. Usually, and the main problem is that all those flights go through Lima. So you have to go to Lima and then back up to Juliaca. All different options that you have here for experiences. You have the communities, the local communities, the indigenous people of this area. The floating islands, that's also something people have heard of many times. These islands actually float, so you can visit those islands. People live on it, although you do get a certain feeling like, hey, wait a minute, is this tourist trap? Well, I leave that up to everybody that visits it. We can do some homestays also on different islands, different areas as well. Stay with the locals, really connect with the locals. That's kind of what we always try to do. And then you have, of course, this train that connects Cusco with the Titicaca Lake. And this train goes all the way to Arequipa. So this is also a nice way to either start in Arequipa or start in Cusco, and then work your way to through the Titicaca Lake to Arequipa, or vice versa. And you actually stay and you sleep on board, and you have these fantastic rooms on board of the train. So definitely an option for the high-end traveler. Now, what we can also do is cut that trip of the Andean Explorer in two and take you out in Puno, stay a night or two in either of these fantastic hotels, explore the area a little bit more, and then jump back on the train and do your second stretch to Arequipa, for instance, or then if you come from Arequipa to Cusco. So that's also something that we can help you with, not to have the entire train ride, but to cut it in pieces. So this is the Titilaca, which is a fantastic hotel, a little outside of Puno, and it's like an all-inclusive, so they also have all activities included here, with the kayaking, the mountain bikes, and a visit to the islands. Good. So we have Cusco, Puno, Arequipa, and this is exactly the train that I was talking about. You can do this little loop both ways. And Arequipa is also called the White City. You have you start seeing all the nice Andes surrounding it. It's still good altitude to acclimatize. What I said, you have some really beautiful convents. This is the Santa Catalina Monastery. It's like a whole town inside the town. It's really beautiful to visit. There's different places inside and outside Arequipa to go and explore. There's some museums as well, and of course you have the train. So definitely Arequipa is nice, and you also have the Colca Canyon, which is where you can see the condors. So the Colca Canyon is like the place to see the condor soaring, pretty close by of the King of the Andes. It's the biggest flying bird on Earth. And there are many of them here in this area of Arequipa. So definitely, if you're here, stay, go and see the condors. This is one of the hotels that we recommend in Arequipa, which is the Circa, which is part of the same one that we saw, the Atemporal, in Lima. So this is the Colca Valley. It's not that close by from Arequipa. It's like a 4-hour drive, so you need to stay a night in the Colca Valley. Then in the morning, usually you go to Cruz del Condor and you visit the condors, and then from here you can also drive to Puno, which is a pretty long drive, but it's definitely possible to do if people want to take that option by car. So this is the Colca Canyon, just a couple of pictures so that you have an idea on how it is. There's a lot of hot springs as well in this area, and then you have this place, which is where you will actually see here in this canyon soaring the condor, and that's stunning, spectacular, and wow. Also, for those hikers among us, we can go here and we can do some really nice hikes in the canyon. There's everywhere in Peru. There's opportunities for stunning hikes, longer hikes, shorter hikes, day hikes, multi-day hikes, and that's something that we did not talk about in Cusco, which is the Inca Trail. The Inca Trail is the most epic trail probably in South America. It's what people want to do. It's the way the Incas arrived to their capital. So why not us? And that's we can do the Inca Trail in 3 nights, 4 days. The second day is really strenuous. So once you've been through the second day, you will make it. But it's still 4 days of hiking. So it's really not for everybody. Then we have another option, which is just like a day hike. We take the train, get out of the train before we get to Aguascalientes, hike that day, and we get to Machu Picchu by the Sun Gate, which is how the Incas came to Machu Picchu. But the next day we will actually visit Machu Picchu itself. So we stay a night in any of the hotels that I've showed you, and then the next morning we go and visit Machu Picchu and then get back to Cusco. So that's also a very nice way to get into Machu Picchu by foot, but not having to walk 4 days. Just in case. Sorry for the mix up here. Okay, so in Colca we have this hotel, which is another Bauman property, Las Casitas. Very nice. Out of the Andes, we go to the Amazon. As I said, the Amazon is not only in Brazil, the Amazon is in Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, you name it. Everybody has a little piece of that humongous Amazon basin. And Peru has actually quite a bit of it as well. And what I said, in Peru, it's where the Amazon River starts. So it's, and that's here in Iquitos. So to get to Iquitos, the only way is by flight out of Lima. So if you're in Cusco or somewhere else and you want to do the Iquitos area, you have to go back to Lima and then fly up to Iquitos. Iquitos is the place where you have all these beautiful river cruises departing. So here you have the Aquas, the Delfin, and all those, the Zafiros, those really beautiful boats that do the river cruise on the Amazon River. Those ones depart from Iquitos. So you have Iquitos, you have some lodges as well. If people don't want to go by boat, then you have a certain amount of lodges here. But mainly people go to Iquitos to board any of the boats, like these ones. So you have very high-end, top-notch private jacuzzi in your panorama deck. It's how crazy you want to make it. Iquitos has it. Really nice. The excursions that are done, everybody does the same excursions. It's the same style of excursions. It's about the forest. It's about the megadiversity. It's about the flora and fauna. It's trying to see, to see the animals, to spot them, but also on a nice way. So whether it is in a canoe or whether it's on a paddleboard or whether it's doing yoga. There are some canopy walks. And of course you do the jungle hikes, you do the night hikes, you fish for piranhas, with the motorized canoes, get into the forests to see or the local people or more wildlife, and of course come back and enjoy the luxury of your vessel. And with a bit of luck, you will see the pink dolphin. So the ones that are here, for instance, the Aria or the Aquanera, which is from Aqua Expeditions, really nice. You have the Delfins, and also you have the Zafiro cruise, for instance. There's many different boats from all different budgets. And then just to give a little highlight here, go back to the jungle. What we have is, besides Iquitos, next to Cusco, we have Puerto Maldonado. And Puerto Maldonado, that's where you have just lodges. You fly from Cusco to Puerto Maldonado, just half an hour, and then you get to this area where you have the lodges, and you also have a decent jungle experience. Just so much closer to the areas where most people are, and not having to do 2 flights, but just one very short flight to get to Puerto Maldonado. So that's the idea on the Amazon in Peru. Now, of course, our pure elements, what I told you, make sure that our guests make that click with the country through either a special encounter with local people, local artisans, local musicians, local chefs, you name it, or have a moment of romance that cannot be deleted from your memory. Take those people, do it yourself, get your hands out and do things. Do some trekking, do some real good hiking, get people out of their comfort zone. Of course, our families, we love them. We create really nice things for family travel and for the wellness and spiritual people among us as well. Peru is this destination that is so spiritual. It's mystic. It really, the energy that you get in Peru is so different than anywhere else in the world. So here you have a little bit of everything, and that's why Peru is what it is. That's why Peru is so unique, so well known, and that's why it has this great impact on travelers that know Peru. They want to go to Peru, and it's kind of an easy one for everybody to sell Peru. And definitely, if you work with DMCS Pure, we can make it even easier for you to create those itineraries and sell them to your guests. Questions about Peru? Let's see. Anybody has some questions, or did I kind of almost explained everything? Maybe somebody has a question about this Rainbow Mountain thing that is that's everywhere nowadays. Yes. Okay. So white label services. So our white label service just means that Pure is never nowhere. We are just here as an operational office. Clients will not know that it's Pure. They will not get our name on any documents or our logo on any shirts, caps, or buses that some DMCs brand themselves everywhere. We don't do that. We're here just for you. We don't need our clients or your clients to know who is Pure, because we will never ever sell anything to them. So we need them to know who you are, and that's our white label services. So making sure that you can actually say, well, hey, this is our office in Peru, our office in South America, and for some larger companies, that's very important, and others, they actually like saying that they have a local partner, and they name us with our names. So it depends on how important it is for you not to mention Pure and just to mention your own brand. Amazon cruise effort length, 4 nights, 3 to 4 nights. That's what most people do, but it goes up to an entire week. So depending on how important the Amazon part is for your clients, you can actually sail a whole week, navigate, maybe not sail a whole week, or do a 3-night or a 4-night navigation. If we do hiking, trekking to Machu Picchu, definitely yes. There's several options in, let me just close this one, in Peru to do the trekkings. So you have the trekkings, of course, to get to Machu Picchu, and then you have the Inca Trail, but there are several alternative treks, as people call them, the Salcantay, the Choquequirao. There's several other options. You have also the mountain lodges of Peru, which is not staying in tents, but staying in very nice mountain lodges. And so you have your nice wine, you have a hot shower, and that makes it also much more nicer for some people to do actually the next day hike. But it's not the Inca Trail. It's an alternative to the Inca Trail, and then they'll actually take you to Machu Picchu. But sometimes you actually get to Aguascalientes or nearby Aguascalientes, get in by the same train, and then you visit Machu Picchu. So you actually not enter Machu Picchu by the Sun Gate, which is for some the experience that they want to have. So you have all different kind of trekkings, but then also outside Machu Picchu, you have the entire north of Peru that we have not even talked about, and where you have so many opportunities for nice mountain trekkings, like in the Cordillera Blanca, Huaraz area. There's really a lot more of Peru than just what we've taught now. This is like Peru for the beginners. This is Peru, which is mostly salt, but then you have that entire northern part of Peru that's also packed with beautiful areas. Is Chachapoyas. Maybe you've heard about it. It's fantastic area, but that's for the more seasoned traveler who really wants to go off that Gringo Trail again, and making sure that they do something unique. That's in that area of Peru. Or the second time visitors, they've been to Cusco, Machu Picchu, they've been to the southern part of Peru, and now they want to come back and see the northern part. We also operate the northern part of Peru. So whenever you get that inquiry, please do come to us. This is just because of time. I want to make it within the hour. We just did the main area of Peru. Anybody more questions? I'm not sure. I saw somebody. If you, oh, what's your favorite time of year for first-time visitors? I'd say April is fantastic. It's just after the rainy season, so everything is still nice and green. It's less brownish, as I said. It's shoulder season, so it's not too crowded, and that's what you have in Peru. So the July, August months, for instance, it can get really crowded, and that's when you get kind of this idea: is this mass tourism, yes or no? And everything that's been told about Peru here and there in the press. Well, that's what you get if you travel in July and August. Outside those 2 months, everything is really more tranquil. It's nice to travel, but definitely, I'd say personally, April is one of those months that nobody knows it's perfect to go to Peru. I think that's it. So I want to thank you all for being with me, for listening to me again in a complete hour about Peru this time. I hope I've been able to give you some tips. I hope I've been able to give you some new inside information here and there. And anything you have for South America, our pure destinations, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina, plus Antarctica, please send an email to me or to my team, and we'll be happy to serve you.